there will be a point where people will just learn probably how to work only using AI, and they will not even know what it's like to work without AI.
Do you think because of the rise of the AI, in the near future, more countries will move to a structure like that, where they would just pay you a citizen salary, just because technology handles most things, and for you to sort of just exist?
I think so. I mean, or you get, or unless every person on the planet is going to work as a developer or as a coach, I don't, I don't know how else. Whenever you arrive at a point where everything is automated, and so only people that understand and have access to technology will be able to operate in that world. So it might, I don't know, or I'm sure there will be other things that will be created that we don't know yet, and they will become the jobs of tomorrow. There will be a point where people will just learn probably how to work only using AI, and they will not even know what it's like to work without AI. Like, I don't know what it's like to work without the internet. I experienced internet when I was 10 years old, 12 years old. My parents know, and it was a very different world. There were very different jobs. And also, just because, if you don't need to know the past to be able to operate in the future. You can plug into the future and then be able to operate in what the future will look like. So it's a bit the wild, wild west there. How about you? Do you think that's what's going to happen?
I think for most people, that's where we're headed, where they're going to give us like coupons or something. And just like you said, why would I work and get just as much or a little bit more if I can just do nothing and have my needs taken care of? Yeah, I'll settle for less, but then I don't need to try very hard. I think most people will be happy to subscribe to that idea in a world that's really fast paced, where technology is outpacing most human capabilities. And unless you're a creative worker, something that AI can do, but I think there's still going to be quite a bit of requirement of that from humans: creative thinking, creative working, creative solution, problem solving, and solution creation. Um, I think you can't have 10 billion people do that. You can't have 10 billion coders or 10 billion AI prompters. You're going to at some point have to figure out a way to create food out of thin air, create housing by transforming gases into concrete or something, so you can build like a skyscraper. And these solutions will have to be made unless Elon gets there first and we all move to Mars. I think then you kind of have to start working on building houses on Mars and planting.
But there will be AI building houses on Mars. It will not
Probably,
be people.
yeah.
Right. So it's still like, yeah, it's still. So I think it is very exciting and scary at the same time. And I say exciting for me because I can talk from a privileged position. I can make the most of this situation. Scary for people that will not be able to make the most of this situation, and we can't, as a human being, I don't think we can forget about them for the sake of progress. Because, of course, we can all focus on the sake of progress and evolution, and this is going to be the next era, and we can all get there. And talking from a privileged position, yes. But what if you never opened a laptop in your life? And there are tons of people in the world that never opened a laptop in their life. What if you don't have a smartphone? Tons of people like that. You are already at a disadvantage completely. Like you are going to be redundant as a human being at some point. Not as a human being, but your role in society, defined by what you do and your job, is going to disappear. So there's going to be definitely a big shift. I'm curious how it was, when there was the first industrial revolution, which is probably the closest thing, where we went from everything the men were doing everything, to machines started doing the first things, then the first industrial revolution, and No, we went through that. We're going to go through this as a species, a human species, and just to know how this is going to plan out.
Yo, it's Igor. I want you to have my Amazon best-selling book for free for taking the time to listen to my podcast and to watch my YouTube videos. Now, I'm not only going to give you this book for free, but I'm going to throw in about $3,200 in free bonuses. Now, if you want to get this book, please click the link in the description, or you can also go to igorsbook.com. And now, back to the podcast. Yeah, I think the difference between going through the Industrial Revolution to this is that the leap we're making now is much larger than the leap we've made with the Industrial Revolution. I think because of the nature of AI and how it can train itself, the pace with which it's going to develop, like the Industrial Revolution extended over a period of 80 years, 50 years, like started building factories and machines and developing methodologies and computers and everything. Then we went from having computers to like in the size of this room to pushing it down to just a TV size box. And now we're at a point where a computer fits into a tiny little chip, and we can already fit more into that chip than you used to be able to fit into this kind of room in the 70s. And now this chip is getting capabilities to do things better and faster than most human beings. So there definitely will be new jobs created, in my opinion. But I think as far as the people who can't participate in that economy, we will have to give them some kind of food, shelter, just using that technology. And my hope is that technology we develop today and what AI is going to create, it's going to evolve into tools and strategies that allow us to build cheap housing, that allow us to create cheap food, cheap water. I don't know if you can create water, but definitely grow food in a way that's cheaper. Maybe grow it in a lab or grow it out of a mushroom or something. Because otherwise, how do you feed all these people? I mean, we've been really making lots of babies in the last few years. Just Israel alone. When I came to Israel, it was 5 million people. When a few years became 6, now I think now it's 8 million people. And it's a country the size of my shoe. Well, actually, no pun intended, because I know Italy is also shaped like a shoe. But in terms of actual size, Israel is so small, you cross country in 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's if you go east to west. If you go south to north, that's 5 hours, I think. It's really small. Yeah, but there's so many people there now, and it's slowly getting crushed under its own weight of taxes, social payments, and subsidies that you got to do for people who can't support themselves. So eventually we will have to do something. The resources to feed people and to house them will have to come from somewhere. And the way the housing costs are rising in every country, not just in Israel, but in every country.
Oh yeah.
I don't see how people be they'll have to move into what we used to call, back in the communism days, we used to call kommunalka, which is basically a big apartment, but you've got 12 families living in it. Everybody has one kitchen, one bathroom, and every family has a room. But it's a big apartment, So,
and that's survival. That's survival. So, what I hope is that whatever change is going to happen, that whatever is going to be implemented in different countries is done with the collaboration of the country that we're going to operate in. I've been involved quite heavily in the climate action space recently. And if there is one thing that we have learned, like even talking to indigenous people or talking to people that live in islands that are going to disappear because they're going to be submerged in the next 15 years or 20 years, is that a lot of scientists or a lot of people that work in technology, whether it's from Europe or from the US or other countries, just come in, say, oh, we have the solution, we are going to do this, without having any clue of what's it like to live there, how the relationship with the land that they have there. And so what my hope is that whatever solution is going to be developed, they're not going to forget actually to involve the people that are directly impacted, because that's often what's happening. No, we are having this conversation from our glass ceilings and from my apartment, and I don't live there, so we can bring solution, and I think that everyone is playing a part. But let's remember to involve everyone that actually is being affected to be part of the solution, because they know better. We might have more technology, but they know better the reality of living there, what they need, what they're really looking for, what are the nuances of each places. And that's what my real hope is, whatever the future is going to be, that this process is going to be part of how we make decision, by involving in particular the people that are directly affected by any type of change, instead of forgetting about them and just because we are better and we have the solutions.